comedy in the time of the zombie apocalypse. Well, I'm talking about The Walking Deceased. That name might sound a little familiar with you. This is obviously going to be a parody of The Walking Dead, although it does kind of spoof several other notable zombie films as well. Now, before I get onto that, this is actually going to be one of two comedy zombie films that I'm going to be reviewing. This is a 2015 American movie. Now, it's actually quite a low-budget film, so if you are going to watch this film, I always kind of would say don't expect too much when you're kind of watching these kind of low budget stuff. I think sometimes people will criticise low budget films a little unfairly, expecting the same kind of production values that you may see in high budget stuff. That being said, what's the film like? Well, this is a straight spoof. Don't be expecting a kind of a particularly coherent storyline, because this is really just kind of setting up jokes, aping scenes that we've seen mainly from The Walking Dead, but also from Zombieland and Warm Bodies. Those three source materials tend to be the kind of the primary focus here. Although there is a lot of nods to other kind of zombie films, for example, Dawn of the Dead, one of the initial locations in the mall, 28 days later, things like that, basically. But mainly those kind of three, those Walking Dead, Warm Bodies, and Zombieland. And the actual story it kind of apes the kind of first two seasons of The Walking Dead mainly, and it basically focuses on a sheriff called Sheriff Lincoln. Now, if you know Walking Dead, obviously that's a joke in itself, because the actor that plays Sheriff Grimes, his real name is Andrew Lincoln. So that's kind of thing. That's the kind of jokes we're kind of looking at here. And basically, it really focuses on him kind of waking up in hospital, much like the original Walking Dead, meeting up with a group of survivors. Now, these survivors are a kind of mixture between various kind of zombie films and TV shows, some of which are from Walking Dead, some of which are from Zombieland, or sort of characters based on the Zombieland characters, and you've even got the kind of the zombie from Warm Bodies sort of hanging around with them as well. And they basically kind of want to go to a safer area, and then tromps off down to the kind of the local sort of farm where they hear it's kind of safer, and then it kind of goes into the kind of the similar plot line to season 2 of The Walking Dead. So that's pretty much all I'll say in the plot. This is not really going to be a plot driven film, as you can probably imagine. So the things you're going to want to know here, obviously, is it a good comedy? And as a zombie fan, are you going to want to watch it? Carl! So I think you'll definitely get more from this if you are a fan of kind of the zombie genre, because there's a lot of the jokes here are very kind of referential to the kind of the source material. For example, the kind of the sheriff character is always calling his son Carl when his actual name is Chris in this particular film. So again, that's kind of a joke based on The Walking Dead that you simply won't get if you haven't seen it. Stuff like that. The kind of the names of the Zombieland characters are actually based off pizzas rather than cities in America. You simply won't get these jokes unless you're a fan of the zombie genre. So if you kind of like your comedy but you don't like zombie films, move aside, because you're not gonna like this one.
Green Bay.
Green Bay.
Chicago.
Those your legal names?
Yeah, we go by our favorite
style of pizza. Chicago, Brooklyn, Green Bay.
Green Bay style pizza?
Frozen.
All right, I get it. If I run into a gay fat guy named DiGiorno stuffed crust, send him your way.
In regards to the comedy strokes as a whole, now I read some reviews of this before I kind of did my own review, and I have to say the reviews are pretty scathing. But I have to say this is probably a little bit better than I think the majority of reviews give it credit for. I just think they kind of look at the low budgetness of this and kind of dismiss it. But I actually think some of the jokes are quite funny here. Not all of them. In fact, I would say probably less than half. But there are a few genuinely funny films. Although I would say as the film progresses and we kind of go onto the farm, the jokes get a little less funny, and it kind of maybe outstays its welcome a little bit. But the kind of the first half of this movie, certainly when we're in the hospital and the kind of the mall, I think that the kind of the best jokes are in there. And there's obviously a lot of spoofing of the kind of the characters that we've kind of seen from your kind of favourite zombie TV shows and movies and stuff like that you're going to appreciate if you are a fan of this. Although if you're a Daryl fan of Walking Dead, I'm not quite sure what you'll think of his kind of counterpart in this one. But like I said, some of the comedy does wear itself a little bit thin, and we find we kind of labouring jokes a little bit too much, and some of them do fall a little flat. And because of the kind of the lack of real story here, again, you might kind of feel your interest kind of waning as the actual sort of story sort of goes on. I have to say though, Some of the actual aesthetics of this one I did think were very good, especially considering the low budget here. I actually thought the zombie effects weren't too bad. There's some pretty decent effects and some quite, impressive amount of extras that we've kind of got all dressed up as zombies, so it actually does look of a reasonable scale. And there are a good amount of sort of headshots and things like this, and kind of violence against sort of zombies and humans alike. So I was actually fairly impressed with the kind of the scale of this movie based on the budget. There's obviously quite a few locales as well to kind of keep you interested. One of the weird things I did find about this movie on a technical scale was the editing. The editing I thought was quite poor in this movie, because it kind of sort of jumps around and it feels like I don't know, just it's been very quickly to me, and some of it doesn't kind of make sense. You'll find you'll sort of see shots kind of flipping back from one another too quickly that it looks like it's been done by mistake and things like that. So on a technical scale, I think maybe there needs a problem with the editing here. Like I said, this film is certainly not going to be for everyone. I did quite enjoy it, although, like I said, I was kind of... The time was ticking a little bit as to kind of the jokes wore. It did wear a bit thin, but if you are a fan of The Walking Dead or you do like zombie films, you may kind of get a kick out of this film initially. Like I said, I actually kind of quite appreciated it, and I kind of respect the effort that's been put in here, and obviously with a low budget, and they tried to do something a little bit different with the with the kind of the source material. So it's just not going to be like you're going to win your great spoofs like kind of your Naked Guns or your your airplane things like that. But if you are a fan of zombie genre, check it out. I'm actually going to give this movie a 6 out of 10. What do you think of it? Leave me a comment. I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.